Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to By His Grace Marriage Ministry Podcast. My name is Amanda. Shabbat shalom to those of you that keep the seventh-day Sabbath. I pray that you have a blessed and restful Sabbath. Praise Yah. All right, so I wanted to come on and do one last update/announcement episode. After this, I hope to just use my community section of my YouTube channel to release announcements and updates moving forward. So with that being said, let me go ahead and jump right into the first update/announcement that I wanted to share with you all concerning the podcast as a whole. So I announced this, several months ago when I first felt led to transfer, or not transfer, but share my podcast over on the YouTube platform. So for a couple of years, I have had the podcast just strictly as a podcast on whatever podcast platforms, which there's been a ton of changes since then. Praise Yah, He has given me guidance and knowledge in just kind of navigating all these changes that have gone on through just technology. It's been a bit frustrating, but He has sustained me through it all, and here I am. So, but anyways, several months ago, I felt led to get my podcast onto another platform, YouTube, because YouTube is pretty much really all I really utilize as far as any social media platforms. So I have no other social medias at all other than YouTube, and YouTube is something that my family and I utilize daily. It's actually our form of how we listen to set apart music, how we connect with our assembly and our fellowship, how we watch whatever little bit of TV or videos that we actually do. Like, YouTube is everything for us in that aspect. So I really wanted to, my prayer was for this podcast ministry to reach as many people as, as possible, or just people that maybe needed to hear or receive advice or counsel on their marriage or their relationship, or, however, whatever that they needed. And also, a lot of you now know that my podcast ministry now isn't just only advice and words and counsel on marriage and relationships and family, but also now the Word of Yah, the audio scriptures, which was a project I began last year that I just felt led by the Ruach and encouragement through other, sisters, other friends to do scripture reading. And I didn't want to make a separate podcast or channel for that. Sometimes I do wonder if maybe I should have, just because I already have so many episodes that have been published, praise Yah. But I really didn't want to do a separate one. I felt like that was just gonna, I don't know. I just didn't want to do that. So it's included. But anyways, praise be to the Most High. It was fairly easy to get the podcast transferred or just shared onto the YouTube platform, so that there's another outlet for people to listen to the podcast. So I know that majority of people, myself included, utilize YouTube to watch videos. Right now, I don't have any videos to watch. I just have the podcast episodes that you can listen to. I've had some people ask me, do you plan to do videos at some point down the road now that you're on YouTube? And I'm just not sure. I am camera shy, and I haven't really felt led to vlog or do videos or anything like that, which is why I have the podcast in the first place. I just felt that was more my thing, I guess, in my comfort zone. But who knows? Maybe there will be videos to come in the near future. I don't know. I will continue to put that in prayer. But for now, I wanted to share again that the podcast ministry is on YouTube. And I would just really encourage all of you, if you feel led to please check out the podcast on YouTube. Um, please subscribe if you haven't already, if you would like to, and please share it with others that you know may like or benefit from the podcast ministry. So you will find my YouTube channel. It is the same title as my podcast, By His Grace Marriage Ministry, and it has the same cover art. So you should be able to find it, without any issues. But if you aren't able to find it, please send me an email at byhisgraceministry23@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to help you. The next thing that I wanted to share is, most of you know I've had a ministry email attached with the podcast for some time. Fairly recently, I had to change the email address. Long story short, I had some more technical issues with that email. I'm not sure what all happened, but I tried everything to recover that email and I just couldn't. So I ended up having to create a new email address. So that email address should be in each episode in the description. For those of you that want to connect, I would love to hear from you all. If you have questions, prayer requests, if you just need some advice or something. I used to do one-on-one counseling. I'm not doing that at this time anymore. But if you need some advice, have questions, things like that, I would love to connect with you all. So please feel free to email me. Now, the reason why I said in the beginning that this will be my last update/announcement episode is because with there already being so many episodes that have been released in the podcast, I really don't want to continue doing episodes that are just me talking and sharing about updates and announcements, just because I want to focus on the audio scriptures and then whatever marriage, relationship, family words that I have. What I want to start doing now is I want to start utilizing the community section of my YouTube channel and just announcing things there. So for those of you that feel led to join and subscribe to my YouTube channel, you will get those announcements and updates there. So I'm really going to do my best, Yah willing, to put more time into this. I really, really want to put more time into this, and just see where it goes. Whatever is Yah's will for this podcast ministry. This podcast has been going on now for about 3 years, and I give all thanks and esteem to Yah. I'm just so thankful for, giving me the opportunity to have this podcast, to release, all of the episodes that I have. There's over 200 episodes. I'm pretty sure it's close to 300 now. And I'm just so thankful for that. And, I was praying that if it was in His will, that the podcast ministry would kind of branch out a little bit more. But the thing is, I'm not into a lot of social media. So I wasn't sure how to do it. And, that's why I ended up putting it on YouTube, because YouTube is the only really social media that I utilize in my day-to-day life. And so I figured that could be a good way to branch out. Now, again, I know people, really like more videos versus just listening to something. And that's why there's podcast platforms. And I've realized that. However, YouTube, I don't know when, came out with, for you to have podcasts on YouTube. So YouTube has actually become another platform for podcasts as well. So that's another reason why I put that, I went ahead and put that out there. So yeah, I just, whoever that has been following this podcast, you have been a part of my audience from the beginning or even just recently joining. I would really love to encourage you all to please go check out the podcast on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Again, just would really love to just get it out there for more people. There are so many people that are on YouTube all the time, me and my family included, and I would just love for it to get out there. So please, 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 if you feel led, please share with others. Please subscribe if you haven't already, so we can just kind of get it out there. And maybe, yeah, willing, maybe there will be some videos or vlogs to come in the near future. We will see. That's something I'm definitely still praying about. And if it is something that Yah, in fact, wants me to do, it's really going to take me out of my comfort zone. And that's just going to be a whole different world. So we will see moving forward how that's going to look. But for now, I am still working on just getting the audio scriptures out there. So that's another thing that I wanted to talk about just moving forward. And I know I kind of shared this already a few episodes back, when I was giving an update and saying shalom, because it had been like 3 months. But I wanted to come on and share just kind of what it's going to look like moving forward with audio scriptures. I did get some recent emails with some questions about the audio scriptures and just things like that moving forward. So I do want to share that as well. All right. So, and I think what I'm going to try to do now, please bear with me because as I've expressed before, I am not very good with technology. I am truly, truly learning as I go along. And it has not always been easy. It has been a challenge for me, but I'm grateful to learn new things, especially when it's for, to just serve Yah and others. But I want to see if at some point I can get on my YouTube channel and just kind of create playlists. So like a playlist of all, words pertaining to marriage, relationships, and family, and then the playlist of the set apart audio scriptures so that it can be maybe a little bit easier for those of you that are listening to the podcast through YouTube. I'm going to try to do that the best that I can. Again, I'm learning. If any of y'all happen to know, please send me an email and I would love to connect with you if you wouldn't mind helping me with that. But that is my next goal, to just kind of organize my YouTube channel a little bit more so that the podcast isn't so, I don't know, it's not messy per se or unorganized, but just so that it's easier for people. I'm pretty OCD, so if any of you are the same way, you may appreciate there being playlists. So, I've also done a lot of like quote unquote series within my podcast where I've done episodes that are like have 4 parts to them, right? I even thought about maybe organizing to the point of having those series in its own playlist and things like that. So, yeah, willing, as some time goes on, I will hopefully be able to accomplish that. That is my goal. I'm just sharing with you all like what my hopes are and my goals are in the near future for the podcast and just things like that. Because again, right now my podcast consists of 2 different things. There's, just the relationship, marriage, and family words, and then, or episodes, and then the set apart audio scriptures. So I'm trying to organize that a little bit better. Also, another thing, speaking of organization, I know some of you must be like, what are you doing with the audio scriptures? Like, why are you going out of order and you're like jumping all around? I know. I was not at all expecting for me to do that. I really, really wasn't. My plan had been to read most books from the Apocrypha that I feel are inspired scripture. And then when I was done with that, go into the 66 canon. I thought a lot about this and I was like, excuse me, lost my voice there. I was like, okay, this is going to take me probably a few years to do. And so I was like, maybe I might want to start incorporating books from the 66 canon as I do books from the Apocrypha. So I've been kind of mixing it up a bit. Now, the other aspect of that is I'm not really going in order. So, again, someone being as OCD as I am, I thought that I was going to go in order, especially start with the Torah, which for those of you who don't know the Torah, it just consists of the first 5 books of the Bible, of the 66 canon. So Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And I didn't do that. I started with Psalms, Proverbs. I did the Song of Solomon or Book of Songs. And I think there was one more. I can't even remember what I've done. But yes, I have jumped all around. And I will just tell you, okay, that this has just been Ruach HaKodesh inspired. I just kind of go with what I feel led to do. And I believe it's the Ruach leading me to do those because I know myself. And again, with how OCD that I am, I know that I would have started in the beginning with Genesis in the Torah. And I just didn't. So I'm sorry if that bothers any of you all. If you were looking for something more orderly, you're not really going to find it with these audio scriptures because I am just doing what I feel led to do by the Ruach. And like I said, trust me, I would have been more orderly and more organized in terms of the order of how I'm reading and recording and releasing these audio scripts for all of you. So, um, but anyways, as far as that goes, so right now, currently, I am reading the book of Jashar. I just did chapters, I think, 8 through 10. Jashar is a bit of a lengthy book, so that's going to take a little bit of time. The chapters in themselves are lengthy. So I try to get as many chapters as I can in one episode, but that doesn't always happen for different reasons. Yeah, I'm doing the book of Jashar, book of Tehillim, Psalms, the book of Mishlei, Proverbs, and then now I just started a new one, the Prayer of Asenath or the Tefillah of Asenath. I just started that one and released the first 10 chapters. That book is shorter. It's only 29, I think 29 chapters. So I've done a lot from the Apocrypha. So I don't know how many more I will be doing. Again, I'm only releasing what I feel at this time is inspired scripture. Yeah, so I don't think there's too much left from the Apocrypha for me to do. I already explained I'm not going to be reading and releasing the Book of Jubilees. I have that in another episode. Sorry, I was taking a drink of coffee. So anyways, I think I've pretty much, I think there's still like Book of Maccabees that I may go ahead and do. Third and fourth Ezra. You know, these are things I'm probably going to incorporate at some point. Again, it's going to take time. With the 6 canon, again, I've already done like Song of Solomon. I've done, I'm doing Psalms, Proverbs. I may move into the Torah next. I don't know. I'll probably start with going to Genesis because I'm also doing the book of Jashar, which I have always said is an extension of Genesis. It just goes into more detail of the accounts that we read about in Genesis. So now I did have a question by somebody because this book actually isn't a part of the Apocrypha, but it is out there and I have personally read it. But somebody did ask me if I plan to read the book of Adam and Eve and release it on the podcast. So this is a great question. I have thought about this a couple of times as to whether or not I actually want to read this book on the podcast. The thing with the book of Adam and Eve, and I can say the same about the other book that I'm currently reading or just started, the Prayer of Asenath. I do not know whether or not these are inspired scripture or not. There's a lot of just things being said about both of these books. I did read it, and it is a good read. It's very interesting, and again, it just goes into more detail about Adam and Eve's life, what happened to them when they were expelled from the garden, and things like that. So I am leaning towards doing that. I want to pray a little bit more about it, and we'll see. Now, the prayer of Asenath, I had prayed about it and decided, yes, I wanted to go ahead and share it. Plus, it's a bit of a love story, and it's got some romance in it, so I thought it would be great to have it on the podcast since it is a marriage ministry podcast. But with the book of Adam and Eve, yes, I am definitely leaning towards reading that book. Now, if I do, it will be after I have finished the book of Jashar. I don't want to do too many different books at the same time, especially if those of you are already like cringing at the fact that I'm not going in order with these books. I definitely don't want to have like a mess of what order I release these readings and these episodes. I'm trying to keep them in order. You may notice like I'll do like the book of Jashar and then Psalms, Proverbs, and then start it again. Jashar, Proverbs, or Psalms, Proverbs. So I'm trying to be as organized as I can be. And now I've started the Prayer of Asenath, so that is now also included. So I've got 4 books right now that I'm reading from, and I think that's about all I can handle at the same time. So if I do end up reading the book of Adam and Eve, I will go ahead and do that after I have finished the book of Jashar. So really big project ahead of me, brothers and sisters. But I really feel so strongly to do this in Yahushua's name. I really, really, really want to continue in this project. I know a lot of you, want the word of Yah. Some of you may not have time to read it. Some of you may not prefer reading. There's different reasons why people would just rather hear it. And so I really wanted to be a part of that and get that out there. Now, I know there are tons of YouTube channels and probably even podcasts and different things where people are reading the word of Yah and putting it out there. Praise be to the Most High. I know I'm not the only one. And maybe you might find something out there that's better. I don't know. I do the best that I can. And I just want it to be available for whoever feels led. And just get the word out there. And it's a blessing for me too, because while I'm doing this for all of you out there, and for the ministry, it's a blessing for me because I'm in the Word of Yah all that time, and that's really a wonderful blessing for me as well. So. I also had somebody ask me randomly, why do I call it a podcast ministry? Great question. I call it a podcast ministry because the podcast is my ministry. My ministry, I felt like Yah had brought to me several years ago about, at first, honestly, I thought I was going to work more with children. I love children. And I thought that maybe I was going to be in some kind of children's ministry. And then Yah started highlighting to me about marriage. And he graciously blessed me with a lot of knowledge and wisdom in this area, not only just for the sake of my own marriage and family, but to share with others. And that was what he revealed to me, was to share with others, not to teach, but to share with others and to help anybody who needed to vent or wanted advice or, something like that. And I was very, very just leery about this because I'm like, marriage, first and foremost, and family is such a sensitive subject and topic, especially in today's world. And who am I to give advice and counsel, especially when I've come from such a dysfunctional background and so on and so forth. So anyways, through all of this, Yah has not only taught me so much from this and helped me to just grow as an individual in him and in many other ways, but to give that wonderful gift to be able to help others in the same situations or similar. It's just incredible. And I'm so thankful to him. And I wouldn't have been able to do this ministry without him. It all comes from him. A lot of the episodes of marriage and family and relationships that I have done, advice that I've given, words that I've shared, has either been straight from him, that he's given to me a long time that I've learned, or some of them have been through books that I highly, highly encourage and recommend, that are very set apart and backed up by scripture. And I have incorporated that into a lot of my episodes as well. And so I just give all esteem and praise to him but it is my ministry. I have a marriage and family ministry, and the podcast is what ended up being the platform for me to just kind of share that ministry with others and serve others and Him, which I'm thankful. I started out back when I had Facebook. I would do these posts. And I remember sisters would, private message me and say, thank you for your post. I really needed to read that. I needed to see that. But a lot of people really don't want to take the time to read super long posts because that's what it ended up being. There was so much I wanted to say that the posts were incredibly long. And I just got to thinking, like, there has to be another way. Like, I knew I wasn't ready for videos. Again, I'm camera shy. I have an insecurity with that I need to work on with Yahuwah. But I just kept praying for there to be another way for me to release what I had been sharing on Facebook. Um, and that's when Yah brought to me podcasting. um, I didn't even really know podcasting was really a thing. I heard of it. I never utilized it, never familiarized myself with it. And then all of a sudden I was thrust into the world of podcasting. And praise be to the Most High. It honestly was it wasn't difficult. And I'm so thankful for that because again, I'm horrible with technology. So the fact that it was easy for me to do, I had the equipment and devices to do it. It just took off. And that's how I knew it was Yah's will. And this is how my ministry was going to be. So I call it podcast ministry because it's a reminder that this is my ministry that Yah has given me, and it is a podcast. So that's why I call it that. So sorry for the long explanation, but that's why I call it that. And now that podcast ministry is now on YouTube. And again, I hope and pray that y'all would be willing to go and check it out, subscribe to it. Please share it with those you know and love, or those that you know could benefit from it or may like it. Again, it's basically just another platform to stream these episodes, and maybe there will be some videos in the future. Also, because there's a community section within the channel, that's how I want to be able to just kind of let you all know about updates, announcements. You can leave comments. We can connect in that way as well, apart from emailing. So it's just another great way to connect more with you all. Now, some of you who are already on my YouTube channel may have noticed that a lot of my marriage episodes, like marriage and family relationship episodes, I've turned off the commenting. With the set apart audio scriptures, I'm leaving the comment section open. There's a reason for this, and I thought long and hard about this. Again, marriage and relationships is a very sensitive topic, and it's highly important and a big deal. Now, I'm one that's always open to criticism, or people correcting me or whatever. However, and I have seen this time and time again, just within YouTube and a lot of other social media platforms, where people just absolutely become bullies and tear one another down and discourage and all kinds of things just within comment sections alone. And when I was led to put my podcast onto my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel first was just my personal channel. And then I added my podcast and changed my YouTube channel name to match the podcast so people could find it easier. When I did this, I knew right away that any relationship, marriage, and family episodes, I was going to have the comments turned off. Because I know not everybody's in agreement with a lot of what's out there. And I don't mean out there as far as secular or in the world. I mean, even just within the body. And again, it's not that I'm not open to, criticism and correction and things like that. And if you feel that there's something you would like to discuss with me concerning these things, that's what the email is for. But to put it out there in the comment section, or as they say, to put it on blast like that, and then it can then create like, just a public argument, or people just arguing in that's not what I want this podcast to be about. Um, that's not what I want the focus to be. I don't want that kind of thing to draw away from the word and from what's being shared. I don't want that at all. So I knew right away that commenting for the relationship, marriage, and family episodes were going to be turned off. Now, the comment sections for the set apart audio scriptures are open. Um, I don't know if anybody's going to have much to talk about when it comes to these books being read. But people are welcome to comment, and I pray that it doesn't turn negative. And I will say that if I do see that at any time with any of these episodes being released, I will turn off the comments for those as well, if need be. Again, if you feel there's anything you would like to bring to my attention, discuss with me, or correction in love, or rebuke in love, or anything like that, I'm open to that. I don't want to lead anybody astray, and I definitely don't want to bring dishonor or displease Yah or anything like that. I am open to that. Please email me and we can talk about it one-on-one privately. But as far as putting it out there in the comment section and things like that, it's just, I find to be not only distasteful, but a disrespect, and it just takes away from the purpose of the ministry. And again, I have seen this happen to so many ministries on YouTube, to so many individuals on any social media platforms. And honestly, sadly, one thing I've realized in the past couple of years, especially being in this walk, has been that there actually seems to be more strife and disrespect and all kinds of sad things, more so in the body than there is in the world. It is very sad. And I really don't want that within my ministry. I don't want that within my podcast or my YouTube channel. If you don't agree with me, then don't subscribe, don't follow, don't listen. You're not forced to. But please don't try to belittle me or bash me, or anything, along those lines. We are not called to do that. If there is correction that's needed or rebuke, we should do it in love. And unfortunately, we don't see that within the body. We really, really don't. So that is one thing that I just really, really wanted to share with you all, because that's a big part of it all. Because when I was just podcasting, um, you know, there really wasn't a way for people to leave comments or anything like that unless I chose that, and I never did, because for the same reasons. Um, it's just never really a good feeling. Again, I'm open to the criticism, and there's I forget what it's called, and any correction and things like that, or even just discussion. I would love that. I mean, I'm open to receiving that. I am in no way saying that I'm perfect, or that I have it all, that I know it all, and that what I'm saying, what I'm sharing, is for everybody, or anything like that. And honestly, I try very, very hard to make sure I pray and make sure that what I'm sharing, what I'm releasing, is not going to confuse anybody, not going to lead anybody astray, or anything like that. So, um, but at the end of the day, I am human too. So, and then last thing that I wanted to share, in speaking of being human as well, there is something that I am still praying about, that I may share on the podcast. Now, the reason why I'm thinking about doing this is because not too long ago, I made a series entitled The Dangers of Infatuation and Lust. This was a really, really great series, brothers and sisters. It was a total of 3 episodes. I was actually shocked that not a lot of people have listened to these episodes. Please, 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 if you have not, it doesn't matter whether you're single, married, don't have this problem, it doesn't matter. Please listen to these episodes, these 3 episodes, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Brothers and sisters, I can't express enough how important it is to listen to these, and to just like hide these things in your heart and in your mind and be on guard. Because let me tell you something, one of several things that many in the body are struggling with is lust. Okay. And let me tell you something, lust is a very strong and nasty spirit, and it's hard to get rid of. Now, one of the reasons why I did that series, because around that time that I released those series, I myself was experiencing something pretty similar to what I released in those episodes. Now, the episodes are containing me going through the scriptures about different accounts and just scriptures talking about the dangers of lust and infatuation and what has actually happened to certain individuals because of this spirit, because of that stronghold. Okay. So again, if you haven't listened to these, please, please, again, whether you're single, married, it doesn't matter. This can happen to anybody. Please listen to these episodes. I may be coming out with a somewhat of a follow-up. I'm going to title it The Dangers of Lust, or The Dangers of Infatuation and Lust, My Story and My Lesson. I'm still praying about this if I want to, be transparent and put this out there and share. I feel it could be very important to do this just to kind of help people understand how important this is and how dangerous it can actually be. So sorry about the background noise, brothers and sisters. Sounds like somebody might be stuck. We got some snow, and it sounds like somebody's trying to get unstuck in their car. But anyways, that may be coming up in the near future. So just stay tuned for that. Again, I'm praying about that because that's something that's really going to bring me out of my comfort zone. It's really going to cause me to be very vulnerable and transparent with all of you. It's not an easy thing to talk about or to share, but I feel that it could be very important and may help somebody or benefit somebody that could be walking through the same thing or did, and know that they're not alone. So that may be coming up as well on the podcast. So again, that's not having to do with audio scriptures. That's just within the podcast in general. So, all right. I think that is everything that I wanted to share. Thank you all for listening to this. Again, this will be the last episode that has any updates and announcements. All of that moving forward will be on my YouTube channel where the podcast is. I pray that you all will join me on there, and I hope to see you guys there. I pray to connect with you all more. And again, from my heart, thank you all so much for your support for this podcast ministry. Praise be to the Most High. And I pray that it has blessed all of you in some way or another. All right. Well, that is everything. Thank you all so much for listening. And I will talk with you in my next episode. Shalom.